Hi everybody. So I'm sitting out in my backyard here and I'm just making a quick video so I can show you some of the different ceremonies or rituals you could do during Samhain today, which actually starts at sunset. Some of them are pretty simple and some of them are a little more complicated if you have more time, but all of them just incorporate things that you probably have in your house already, so you should be able to do any of them. So first, Samhain, also known as Halloween, All Souls Night, the Feast of the Dead, Festival of Remembrance, and also the Old Celtic New Year. But it's a festival for the final harvest. So the final harvest, apples, pumpkins, nuts, berries, those are the things that would be being collected, being consumed, and also being left outside on a plate for your ancestors. So a few of the old traditions would be to, as I said, leave a plate outside for your ancestors. Also to bury an apple. So the idea was you would bury an apple and it would be to feed your ancestors on their journey into the next realm or the eternal land. And then you would leave a candle burning in the window for the night, or if you were more old school, you would tend a fire and let it burn the entire night. And that it was the light of the fire would be to guide the spirits onward and the apple to feed them on their journey, which I thought is a kind of a cool thing. So you could just grab a single candle, put it in a window or somewhere that you're safe if you're not worried about kitties knocking them over, and then burying an apple if you have a yard. If you have an apartment and you don't have a place where maybe you could bury something, you could also utilize the apple in creating a small indoor altar. So cutting an apple in half reveals the 5-pointed star shape of the internal seeds, gives you a little natural pentagram to put on your altar. And a reminder of the pentagram is that balance of all of the elements, so earth, air, fire, water, and the spirit. And also that the apple is a symbol for immortality and just a good life. So apples were a sacred and a magical fruit to the Celtic peoples. So adorning your altar with one of those would be a nice touch. Also, now is the time of collecting nuts and seeds, acorns, the seeds of the oak tree. The oak is also renowned in Celtic traditions for longevity and endurance and loyalty. It's a keeper of wisdom, and carrying an acorn in your pocket is a way to carry that with you and also have some good luck or good fortune. So as you're gathering things today before sunset, you could find yourself an acorn to carry in your pocket for the next 24 hours. As I said, the Celts, each day began at sunset, not sunrise. So the day began in darkness. So Samhain, this day starts today at sunset and won't end until tomorrow at sunset. So you could gather your things for now and have that in your pocket as you move forward and maybe contemplating your ancestors. So here are a few ideas. One, baking any festive this time of year food, making a pumpkin pie, an apple pie, apple tarts, anything adorned with nuts, seeds, berries. That is a nice thing. Just that simple act of making food, of thinking of loved ones past, of honoring those people as you bake is a wonderful, simple little spell that you can do. Another would be to just utilize a candle, and as we said, burning a candle for the night. You could add to and create a longer spell just by taking a candle and using a pin. I have a seam ripper right here, but you could inscribe messages, your intention, maybe some symbols. And then just set this to burn. Also adding anything like burning incense or anointing it with oil to just give it some extra juice. You could find different meanings for different incense and oils, but honestly, I think if whatever you have, one will work, even if you just use vegetable oil. As long as you're thinking of that intention, you're going to be successful. But if you have any oils in the house that you particularly like, or you're reaching out to a specific past family member and you know there was a scent that they loved, maybe that's what you would kind of anoint this with, and then light it and let that intention be. It's simple as that. Carve your intention, light the candle, let it burn down, and release it. Another simple but I think really beautiful ceremony that you could do, and this you could do by yourself, but you could also do with your family. Everybody has a tea light, have extras on hand, turn off the lights, have a lighter on hand, and draw up a positive or good, a loving memory of someone who has passed and light your candle. So if I would think of a moment that really made me laugh with my Nana, I could just say that out loud, share that moment, light the candle, and rest it. And then everybody can go around and you can light as many candles as things that you want to share or people that pop into your heart in the moment, and then just leave them, maybe place them all on a tray so you could leave them out on the table. And again, you would just let this burn down and put itself out. So if you started this around sunset, you would have plenty of time, a few hours of burn time that you don't have to worry about leaving it burning overnight if that makes you uncomfortable. Also, very easily, you could use a tea light and also carve in a message as you're thinking on that person and let it burn. It doesn't have to be a taper candle. Let's see. You could also, because this is tends to be a festival around fire, you could do a fire ceremony or fire scrying. So apart from just lighting candles, if you can have a fire in your backyard, fabulous, or a wood stove, but also you can fire scry even just from a candle flame. So you could come up with a really simple rhyme, or just watch the flame and have an open mind and heart and be asking that fire spirit to speak to you and pass on what they have to say. You also could, on a piece of paper, here's another early prep that you could do. So the sun, that great ball of fire, is glowing on us beautifully right now. If you wanted to really add energy to something for tonight that you're really thinking about, you could just take a piece of paper and draw out a sun on it. You can be as simple or creative with this sun symbol as you want. It doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to have crazy detail. You don't have to be an artist. Just a sun on the paper. And tear that paper away and maybe place a stone on it so it doesn't blow away. And let this just sit and actually soak up the sunlight for the next couple hours. Then at sunset or after sunset, you could take this paper and add an intention or a wish or a thought to an ancestor. Write it out right on this page. So it's drawing up that energy from earlier in the day. Also putting your intention from your candle or from your fire. And then once you have that in place, you can burn it in the candle. All right, so just a piece of paper. You don't have to do the sun step, but if you want to add that that extra juice, as I say, you could definitely do that. Another really cool healing ceremony to do with fire would be, again, to, on a piece of paper, draw yourself. And this does not have to be an accurate representation of you. It can very easily just be a stick figure. Does not have to be perfect. But draw out the shape of a person on the page, thinking of you, of yourself and your own body, and think about what needs to be healed. So if I was drawing a picture and thinking that my migraines have been really tough for me lately, I might draw the symbol of a hammer next to my temple. as a symbol of that headache or that pain. Or if you were having some, emotional pain or difficulty, maybe it would be the symbol of a wounded heart on your chest. The symbols don't matter. The detail of them don't matter. It's just the thought of what you're putting in and what you're focusing on. My knee has been aching, and maybe I put a little lightning bolt for that little electric zap when my knee hurts next to it. Whatever those things are, you're just drawing out the images on a piece of paper. Again, thinking about all of those things that you want to push away, break down, get rid of, release to the fire. So draw it out. Think about all of those things leaving your body, of that pain leaving you, physical, emotional, spiritual pain, it doesn't matter. And also release that to the flame. Just burn it away. And that's the end of that ceremony. Also worth noting that this Samhain is a full moon. So full moons are great times for doing protection of home and property, for strengthening friendships and family bonds, for adding vigor and self-confidence, and for enhancing your clairvoyance. So full moon for clairvoyance, Samhain, that time of the thinning of the veil between those and reaching out to ancestors, maybe making it a little easier to reach those folks if you ever struggle with that. Now's a wonderful, wonderful evening to reach out and try those things. So we have the full moon, but also the full moon is about a culmination. It's about seeds planted a month ago, that growth has happened, and the culminating in being able to celebrate those things that you have done well. And it's also about kind of taking that energy and then saying, now that I have grown something in the next phase as we move toward the new moon, what is something that I want to decrease, that I want to draw out of myself, that I want to release and let go of? And again, that's a really nice balance for tonight, because Samhain being linked to fire and these fire rituals and that idea of release, of fire taking it, that is kind of a doubly potent balance to be thinking about, that we're at the fullest point. So now we're thinking about, okay, I want to take a moment to celebrate what's good, and I also want to think about what am I letting go, and let that go to the fire. Whether it's just a lighter you're holding in your hand or you actually have a beautiful fire going outside in your backyard, both will be equally beneficial. Other things, let's see. Just one thing to think about when we're connecting with ancestors, even if, I guess easier said than done if it is someone who has passed recently, or maybe not. Losing loved ones is always painful and difficult, but now is a time that is really celebratory. It's remembering them fondly and not focusing on sadness and despair. It's about thinking of, in that thin veil, of like taking this opportunity to reach out and tell them the things that you want to say and know that they're hearing you, and also an opportunity maybe to have a longer conversation with those folks. But even if you don't commune with your ancestors, that it's a time to just to think on them fondly. And when you make that meal, maybe if you're setting your table at dinner tonight, you just put an extra plate of food on the table. That in and of itself is a ceremony and a celebration of your ancestors. Or thinking of them, like I said, as you bake. But again, that it's this time of positive remembrance as opposed to dwelling on that loss. Also, Samhain is a great time to explore past life experiences. Again, I think it's that connection and that thin veil of, if you're thinking about, maybe it's things that you're releasing or things that you're contemplating growing in the future, that those insights of past selves might be really valuable as you're thinking about this. As if we're thinking about it as a new year, that this would be that Celtic end of the year, that time of moving into a place of reflection, of becoming the hermit of journeying inward and doing some of that work, that maybe those insights from past life are also something that would be really helpful for you. Um, we talked about tea lights and apples and acorns, a couple of different candle journeys. Oh, also, this is kind of more a Wiccan thing, but if you wanted to, around any of these ceremonies, you could cast a circle. And that can be as simple as holding a wee crystal in your hand. If I had my candle set up, I am going to carve that intention and think on it. And then you could use a wand, you could use your hand. You could just have any crystal that you have on hand and actually physically draw the circle around that. And as you do, you're visualizing that this is the space of this beautiful energy and that no negativity can get inside and harm or impact this intention that you're setting. So it's just one more step of like taking that time to visualize and focus on what you're doing, which I think can be really helpful just in kind of creating the mindset to be in the place where you can clearly set that intention and send it off with love. I think I had one more visualization. Maybe not. There was another, at sunset you could also stand in front of a mirror and visualize what you wanted to release inside yourself. So you could actually be looking at yourself and kind of almost like having that conversation while you're looking at yourself. But I think anything that you do, it just comes down to taking a minute, remember your loved ones. If you can, light a candle. If you make some good food and eat it and enjoy it, either with yourself or with loved ones, that is also that's also just a simple and straightforward way to connect to this energy. And if you feel like staying up late tonight and really seeing that beautiful full moon and continuing through a meditation or a journey, I encourage you to do so. But if you're super busy and you have a lot going on, just take 10 minutes, anytime after sunset, and light a candle. Find an acorn if you can and carry it in your pocket. Eat an apple, and you'll be doing the same thing. So, sorry I rambled a lot. There were a lot of ums in there, but just some ideas for this afternoon and evening. I hope everyone has an awesome Samhain. Happy Halloween, and see you all soon.